People don't understand how terrible the Heritage Foundation is when I tell you I hate them with everything in my... So Heritage Foundation has been around for a very long time. And yes, we became familiar with Project 2025. We probably became familiar a little too late, but nevertheless, other work that they did and other work that they're doing is something that we don't.
Washington, D.C. thought it was about to witness another routine Heritage Foundation panel, but when Representative Jasmine Crockett took the stage, the entire tone of the event changed instantly. She didn't sit politely. She didn't shuffle papers. She came in hot, opening with the words that would set social media ablaze. I hate your organization with everything in my body. The audience gasped. Conservative panelists shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. Reporters nearly dropped their pens. And in that instant, everyone in the room knew this wasn't going to be a polite it was going to be a political inferno. Crockett leaned into the mic, her eyes scanning the crowd. You claim to defend heritage? She began, her voice sharp. But what you're really protecting is elitism, privilege, and a version of America that never existed for most of us. A panelist quickly interjected. Representative Crockett, that's uncalled for. She cut him off with a raised hand. Uncalled for. What's uncalled for is writing laws that strip away voting rights, funding campaigns to erase Black history from our classrooms, and pretending it's all in the name of tradition. Murmurs filled the hall as Crockett rattled off specific examples, citing state bills, court battles, and think tank strategies. The Heritage panel tried to regain control, but Crockett pressed harder, pacing the stage like a prosecutor. You say you're saving democracy, she said, but every single one of your policies chips away at it. You want fewer people voting? Fewer people learning? Fewer people questioning? That's not saving America. That's sabotaging it. A stunned moderator attempted to steer the conversation back to civility, but Crockett wasn't having it. She pointed at the panel table. Civility isn't silence. Civility isn't letting lies sit unchallenged. Civility means standing up when our country's under attack from within. The crowd was divided, half clapping, half booing. The tension was electric. Crockett turned directly to one panelist who had been smirking throughout her remarks. You laugh because you've never had to live with the consequences of your ideas, she said. You've never stood in line for 5 hours to vote. Never had your children's history books rewritten. Never watched politicians decide your community's future without your input. That's the America you're defending. That's your so-called heritage! The smirk vanished. Cameras flashed furiously. On social media, the clip spread in real time. Hashtags like hashtag hate the heritage, hashtag Crockett Clapback, and hashtag not my heritage shooting to the top of trending lists. Crockett pressed on, shifting her fire from policy to principle. You tell people like me that we should respect tradition, she said, her voice rising. But what you're really saying is, sit down, stay quiet, accept the scraps you've been given. Well, I refuse. My heritage is resilience. My heritage is struggle. My heritage is building a future that includes everybody. Not just the privileged few sitting on think tank panels. The room roared. Some applauding, some shouting in protest, some simply stunned, silent. One panelist tried to regain footing, sputtering about radical leftist agendas, but Crockett clapped back immediately. If democracy, equality, and honesty are radical, then maybe you've been standing on the wrong side of history this whole time. The moderator's gavel echoed through the hall, begging for order, but the moment had already spiraled into spectacle. Crockett wasn't finished. She gestured toward the audience, locking eyes with students who had packed into the back rows. This is who you're really afraid of, she declared, pointing to them. Young people. Diverse voices. People who see through that's the future. And you can't erase it with position papers and press releases. The students erupted in cheers. The panel looked rattled, shifting papers nervously, their composure cracking on live TV. For nearly 10 straight minutes, Crockett held the floor, dismantling point after point, weaving in history, policy, and raw emotion. Her final line cut like a blade. If this is your heritage, I refuse to inherit it. The room fell into stunned silence, broken only by scattered applause that quickly swelled into a standing ovation from half the audience. Outside, reporters swarmed, asking if Crockett regretted her fiery words. She smirked and said, "Regret? No. Regret is what happens when you stay quiet in the face of injustice. I came here to speak truth!" And I did. Meanwhile, the Heritage Foundation scrambled to issue statements, calling the confrontation political theater. But online Crockett's sound bites had already gone viral. Twitter was flooded with memes. TikTok edits spliced her room service Cancun jab with her "not my heritage" mic drop. And Instagram was plastered with reels of her pointing across the stage. Commentators debated whether she went too far, but one thing was clear. Jasmine Crockett had turned a routine panel into a viral firestorm. And just like that, the lesson was written in bold letters across every feed. Underestimate Jasmine Crockett, and you won't just lose the argument, you'll become the headline. What do you think? Did Crockett finally say what needed to be said? Or was it too much? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more explosive political showdowns.